Hello, it's Jennifer from Sea Lemon. You might have seen some of my illustrated type that I hang up around in my office, either in a past Q&A or a Periscope. I really like illustrated type, and I especially like hanging it around my workspace just to give me a little motivation. For this video, I thought it would be fun to experiment with different techniques on how to make your own typography art to give you some motivation for the new year. I picked 3 sayings which really resonate with me, especially for my creative process and workflow, but of course you can use any saying, quote, or mantra that you'd like. If you want some inspiration for that, I have a Pinterest board. I will put the link in the description below. It's full of quotes and random sayings which I think are wise words. You can use any of these ideas as inspiration and match them to any words that you would like to make your own version. Let's get to it. This first one is great if you have a lot of quotes that you like and want to change them out from time to time. You can put any photo or artwork in a frame. I'm using this ECOT pattern that I made, and you might recognize this from a past tutorial. You can learn how to make this right here along with 2 other designs. I think it makes the overall art piece a little more unique when it's something that you actually made, but of course you can cut out a piece of scrapbook paper or any other patterned paper. Trace the size of the frame onto the paper to trim it out, then place it in the frame. And now you have a clean canvas which you can write any quote, saying, or mantra on. This part is optional, but I think it helps to sketch out what you want to write just so that it has nice typography if that's what you're going for. I'm using a black chalk marker. You can also use dry erase marker. The chalk marker does have a little more opaque paint. And the great thing about this frame is that it's erasable, so you can switch out your motivational words depending on how you're feeling at that time. I'm going for the saying, make your own magic. To me, that really applies to my creative process, and it just reminds me to kind of make your own way and just make your own magic. You don't have to follow in other people's footsteps. Everybody can make their own thing, make their own magic with their own unique perspective. And it's similar to DIY, which is a lot of what I do on this channel. Do it yourself. If you can't find something that works, make it yourself and put your own spin on it. Make your own magic. I think this frame looks great on a desk or up on a wall, and it's helpful to keep the marker next to the frame so that you can easily switch out the motivational words whenever you want, and you can also switch out the artwork in the background. This next one is a fun resist technique using watercolor. On a piece of watercolor paper, write out your motivational words with an oil pastel. You can also use a white crayon or wax in any color of your choice. I like how the white looks with the watercolor, and I think it works well with the words that I'm using. You can't see it from this angle, but if you tilt it in the light, you can kind of see it. This saying deals with perfection and being okay with things being imperfect, so it's okay if it's not perfect. Now with some watercolor, paint over the words to reveal what they look like. And you can see the wax or the oil resist the water, so it's not going to cover up your saying, and you can make any design you want on top of it. And it's okay if some of the oil pastel flakes onto the water, it'll still work the same on your painting. The motivational saying for this is progress over perfection. So I really wanted to go for something not so perfect, just a splash of colorful watercolor. I think this happens to a lot of people, especially creatives, where they just get so hung up on making something perfect that they never get something out into the world at all. So sometimes you just need to accept that it's better to make progress on something than make it perfect. This is something you can really apply to anything in life, but I really like to remind myself this when I'm working on creative projects. I thought this one worked well on a clipboard, something simple so that I can glance up at it over my desk and be motivated to make some progress. If you're a fan of pixel art, you might like this next one using perler beads. For this keep it simple saying, I made this type treatment in Illustrator and I printed it out on 11x17 paper. If you want to download this as a template or a piece of art, you can see that in the description below. Although it does make cool artwork on its own, I wanted to use it as a template to pixelate it using perler beads. When you make pixel art, you're kind of simplifying an image, so I think this form of art works well with the keep it simple meaning. If you're new to perler beads, I recommend getting the packs of colors you want to use versus finding them in a large container because that takes forever. So with my template on the bottom and the board on top, I just went at it and placed all of the beads in the appropriate places on top. And just a little tip, I found it a lot easier to place these with a pair of tweezers, and you can pick up 2 at a time. The saying, keep it simple, is something I apply a lot to any design work I'm doing or my creative process. It is so easy for things to become complicated more so than they need to be. If a project gets too crazy and just becomes stressful in all ways, sometimes you just need to step back and simplify what is going on in order to move forward. And if you keep things simple from the start, you'll have a much easier and smoother process. I also like simple design and simple aesthetic to things, so for me, keep it simple is the route to go. Next step, following the directions that came with the perler beads, I placed the ironing paper down and ironed it on medium heat in smooth, slow circles to fuse all of the beads together. After that has cooled for a bit, remove it from the board and flip the whole thing over to fuse the beads on the back side. Repeat that same ironing process. And to make it cool flat, because it will bow a little, I put a book on top of it. And here's the final pixel piece, a reminder to keep it simple, which you can display as wall art. You can hang it from the wall using mounting tape, and I might just put it on this closet door, so maybe it will motivate me to not let everything become a mess. I hope these give you some inspiration and spark some ideas on making your own typography motivational art. I would love to see your final art pictures, so share those on any of my social links. And also, if you have a favorite quote, mantra, or phrase that really gets you motivated, I would love to know what that is, so leave it in a comment below. Hit that like button and be sure to subscribe for more DIY. If you want to jump into another project, you can check out one of these right here. Links will be in the description below, and I will see you guys next time.